Okay, so in this video, we're going to show you how to hook a pumping system up to our misting system and our little sprinkler system here. Okay, because we got all these things hooked up now. We got our little mister and our sprinkling set up now. Now we got to hook a pump to it. So basically, what has happened here? We got these little misters set up. I put 3 of them on here, one for each wheatgrass. Okay, and then I misted. This is where it connects in at, right here. Okay, and this little misting system, you can see right there. I think that's it, right there. It's our little misting system that we can just manually spray them down with. So, if you watch the video on that, on how we set that up. But for this video, what we're going to be doing is, see this 5-gallon bucket? We're going to set this pump up. We have our little pump here. And we're going to set this up so we can pump water out of this 5-gallon bucket and into this misting system, so that we're completely independent and we don't have to tie into our water supply in our home or wherever we're at. We can just fill this bucket and it works really well. So what we're going to want to do first is, as you can see here, there's a little hole in this bucket, and I had to do that so we could put the pump outside of the bucket from within it. That way the water didn't get dirty and bugs don't get in it or anything like that. So we're going to show you how to do that. And also there's a little notch in here, which we're going to show you as well. And that's so we can put the cord, once you put the cord in the system, or the pump in the bucket, you're going to want to put the cord in that little notch and close the lid on it so that it doesn't damage the cord. And again, you want to make this tight so nothing's getting in it and you have nice clean water. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. Oh, really quick, let me go over the things you're going to need. These are our tools. You're going to need a drill with a 1/4 inch, one of these 1/4 inch drill bits, and I got these really cheap at Harbor Freight. Get a good deal on that. You're going to need a file, because when this hole, it's not quite big enough, so you have to file it out just a little bit. And then you're going to need your X-Acto knife, one of these tubings, and really quick, this was really difficult to come across. Let me make sure you can see this. These 2 pieces right here, now this bottom one you can get one of these anywhere, any Home Depot, but I had to go get this from a Standard Plumbing, which is a special part. You can't get these 2 pieces right here and this one right here at any place. Now this one I think I got at Harbor Freight, or no, Ace Hardware. This top one is a 1/4 inch to like an 1/8 inch barb. Okay, and that's what you need to convert this to plug it into your tubing. Okay, but this one here at the bottom, I had to go to Standard Plumbing, and it was really hard to find, because this was like the whatever this one was converted to this 1/4 inch. So I had to get this one, which I think was 1 inch or something maybe, to a 1/4 inch, and then this 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch. So keep that in mind. That's what you're going to want to do there. Okay, and really quick, I think I forgot the plumber's tape. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. And you're gonna need, excuse me, this plumber's tape. Just comes out. We're gonna put that around the pipe. So let's get into this about how to set this up. And make sure we got a good view. Okay. So the first thing that we want to do is, of course, take your drill and pick a hole that's like right outside this little circle here. Pick a spot anywhere around it and just drill through it. Okay? Now, the next thing you want to do is take your knife right here and cut this little slot cut this out, but don't make it too big. Don't make it too small. You don't want to cause an electrical hazard either. It's the reason why we're doing this. So make it big enough so that this cord can fit through it. Just like that, but don't make it too small that there's any pressure at all, because you don't want any pressure. Okay? In fact, I think what I'm going to do is put a little electrical tape around where this sits, just to make sure it doesn't scuff it up or anything. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Drill your hole in here, and then you're going to want to take this file and kind of file it out a little bit, one of these files. And file it out just a little bit, that not too much, that this doesn't create a tight fit. You want this to create a tight fit. Okay, this thing right here. Okay, again, you don't want air or space in here for bugs to get in. So do this just right. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Drill this hole in one of these lids. File it out. And then go ahead and cut a little notch in here and make sure that your cord can fit in this easily, because we don't want any resistance. Again, keep this nice and safe. Okay, so go ahead and do that. Okay, and then the next thing that we want to do, if you want to pause the video, that's fine, or just watch the whole thing and then come back and do it. Either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, so once you've done that, the next step that you're going to want to do here is take your tape. Now, I know I've already set this up, but you'll be fine. Take your tape and cut a little piece off. And then put it around the base here. Okay, do this on both sides. Okay, you just want a little layer. It's not too much. It'll create a tight fit. So just put this on both sides. Maybe one layer, maybe two. Well, one of course. One, maybe two at the most. Okay, kind of get that on there, because that's going to screw into the end of your pump. Make sure that's the rigid side towards the bottom. Now this side, where it has this smooth side, and these are meant so you can cut them off, but it just worked out perfectly, so you can get one this size. Anyway, the smooth side right here, you want to take your inch to 1/4 inch and just put some more tape on the top of this, another layer, and then just tighten this on as much as you can. It's going to seem a little bit awkward, but you want to tighten that on there so it's basically just sits there permanently. It's stuck. Okay, get that on there as tight as you can. Okay, then you're going to want to take your other one and put some more tape on these threadings here. And then again, put this in, and it won't go all the way, but it'll click, it'll stop, and you'll make this nice and solid. Okay, and take your pliers and just get that in there nice and solid. So you want these two pieces nice and tight. Okay? And just make sure you get tape on all this threading, and this threading on the bottom. Right, the next thing that you're going to want to do is take your pump Okay, now you got your hole and you got your little notch right here. Take your pump and take the lid. What you want to do is put your pump in this bucket. Okay, and then you got your notch right here. So I'm going to show you. And then what you're going to want to do is take this end right here and kind of wedge it in there. Okay? Alright? And then take this other end right here. Okay? Because you don't need to put this in yet. Just stick this through the top. So it's like that. And then you can take your pump. Okay, after this is through the top. And then screw this in to this hole right here in your pump. Alright, you don't need to do this too tight. Just make it kind of pretty snug. Alright. Pretty tight, not too bad. You don't need to make it too tight. And then toss this in here. Okay. And now this is going to pump water up through this little spigot. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is plug this spigot. Or take one of your things. Now, depending on what you're going to plug this into. Now, I'm going to show you. A lot of people... Okay, let's make sure we can see this. Now, in my case, as I showed you, I got to plug this into here. Okay, so this system, this little nipple right here, needs to plug into this because that's going to feed the water into this mister, these three little mister things, and also this one right here, you can see it's a long one, that feeds my manual mister. Okay, so what we need to do is plug this system into here. So let's go ahead and do that, and notice that I have this little connector on the end, but make sure to watch the other video on how to do this. But as far as this concerns, I mean, some people are doing just manual pumps, so you're plugging this right into just a regular mister and you don't even have a system like this set up. That makes sense. So if you're plugging something into this, in fact, let me show you really quick. Okay, so you could be doing something like here, plugging one of these little guys in here and just hooking this into here. Okay, a bigger, longer one of these maybe, so you have a misting sprayer that you're just spraying directly from the bucket. You see what I mean? So it'd be hooked up like this. And then you'll just spray your things. But in this case, we're hooked into this system. So we want this pump to be able to spray all of these things instead of just a separate one. But a lot of people that are doing this are just going to have a separate mister that you plug right in just like this. Just so you can spray your wheatgrass, and maybe some people aren't going all out and they're just setting up a little tarp here to put wheatgrass on so you can just mist it off on the tarp. So for the people who aren't going all out and building one of these whole systems, You just plug it right into here and to whatever other side you've got this hooked up on. Whatever your mystery system you're hooking into. That makes sense? So this will go here and then directly into it. But in our case, since we need to plug into this whole system, we're going to plug it into here. Alright, so I'm going to show you how that works. Okay. So what we want to do here is plug this end in and just grab this right here and push this into it. And that becomes permanent. This is going to lock on there and become permanent. Again, you can just cut these off with an X-Acto knife if you need to. Now it's permanent. And again, watch that video. Okay, and then whatever other end that you're connecting this to, whether it's just directly one of these or something, whatever you're connecting this to, go ahead and connect the other end into it. Okay? No, nice to piece. Okay, so just plug that in there, and in this case it's going to be to our system. Okay. So now what we have here, we're all set up and ready to go. We just need to plug this in. Okay, so angle your thing up however you need to. Again, we have our plug and our little notch here. So everything's looking really well here. So the next thing we want to do is just plug this in, and let me show you what I've got going here. Okay, so what I have here is, see this little switch here? I've run an extension cord up here, but I have this little switch here. And it's just a little turn on switch. You plug it into your extension cord. So basically, what I'm going to do is plug this in here to this switch. And now, whenever I want to use this pump and turn my misting system on, all I have to do is push this switch. And it turns that electricity onto the pump, and the pump pumps that water into this system, into this misting system. Okay, so now all we have to do is turn it on. Well, we got to put water in this bucket first. So I'm going to pause this video for a second, and we're going to grab some water, fill that bucket up with water, and we're going to test our system. Okay, sorry, before we fill this up with water, I'm just going to show you one thing really quick to make this easier. So, just take this whole lid off and kind of lift this up at the base. Make sure you're not putting too much pressure on this, and set this pump aside. Okay, and then just take your bucket, and I'm just going to fill this up in the bathtub. Okay, so I'm going to pause it again. I'm going to pause that video now and go do that. Okay, before we put this plug in, there was something I forgot to show you guys as I went along. And what you're also going to want to do is not only, see how we made a notch in this bucket? Remember I told you to cut a little notch right here with your knife so that this cord could fit in it? Well, you're also, depending on whatever lid you get, you're going to need to cut a notch in this lid as well, because it kind of, when we put the lid on, it cut that cord down. Okay, so my apologies. And cut a notch right here in this lid as well, and that way, okay, that way you want this notch here on this lid to line up with this notch in the bucket. Okay, so when you put it in it, there's a little hole. Alright, so I've already filled this bucket with water. Okay, now this is ready to go in there. So again, sorry about that. Oops. And we're just going to toss this in. Okay, and find our little notch on the bottom here. Right there. Okay, and line our cord up with it. Now, this bucket will close. Okay, and as you can see, it's coming right through this little hole there, and it's not putting pressure on that. So make sure to do this part really well, because you don't want any pressure on this. Okay, so there's that. Just gonna stick this back in our little nipple thing here. Okay, and it's plugged in, and we're actually ready to test this now. So let's go ahead and turn it on. And again, now we got our switch that the pump's plugged into, so we're just going to turn that switch on and give this a test. Currently, let's get a better angle. Okay. We're just testing it in this one, so again, make sure to watch the other video. All the way up to here, actually. Okay, so we're going to turn this on, and as you can see, this little mister is working. We can now spray down our wheatgrass. Okay, we're working like a champ. Already watered this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. And we just have our little mister here. So this is a really, really cool setup. This is mainly what I use, to be honest. I don't really use these. Okay, and I don't want to overwater my wheatgrass, but I've actually already tested these, and they work really well as a misting system. So, however you guys want to do this, go ahead and set up your system. Just remember, okay, to get your bucket, go right there. To get your bucket, and when you do this, dig those holes right. Carve out, oops, sorry about that. Carve out those holes right, and don't put any pressure on that cord. You don't want that to fray when it's hooked up to a watering system, especially. That could cause problems. So again, be very, very careful with this part. Cut that little notch in the lid and cut that little notch in the bucket, and make sure that that cord goes through that bucket without having any pressure on it, because if that severs, that you don't want to mix electricity together. with water that could cause a fire, and that's not what we want. Okay, so be very careful with this part particularly. Alright, and again, that's also why we have this back part set up with the plastic. We're protecting, we're putting safety first, and we're not putting a lot of pressure on this system. It's just enough to be a little misting system. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Get that plumber's tape on your fittings here, and get that all plugged in. Plug that into your pump, put that through your bucket, through your lid, put it in your bucket, and plug your whatever you're plugging up to it. Which most of you again are going to want to bypass. You probably won't even go to the extent and use these misters here. Some of you will. Some of you will create a full system, but a lot of you guys, this is just going to be a tarp or something, or a piece of plastic, and you're just going to want to hook your mister, this thing, directly into your bucket instead of this whole system. So that's that, and whatever you guys want to do there, go ahead and do that. If you decided to set up a whole system, just plug that into the system. If you decided to just have a separate mister like this guy right here, just go ahead and plug that right into your bucket, and then you'll have either your mister or your whole system. Okay, so that's it for this one. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch it, and good luck, and I hope you enjoy your system, your new misting system.